Hello, I'm DJ Rat,
And I'm DJ Riot.
and we're here with...
The Beatbox Collective.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. So I'm going to ask you guys all in order. Just say your names and then your favorite appetizer. Go-to appetizer.
My name is Hobbit, and my favorite appetizer is garlic breaded mushrooms.
Ooh.
My name is Basics, and I love to dabble with salmonella.
Wow. My name is Ball-Zee, and my favourite appetizer, and Rupert's second favourite appetizer as well, is tiger prawns. Garlic tiger prawns.
My name is MC Zani, and my favourite appetizer is crispy duck pancakes with hoisin sauce and chili.
Woo!
Of course.
Wow. Yeah.
How about yours?
Americans would never answer those with those answers. Mozzarella sticks.
Jeez.
Mine, yeah.
Fried pickles.
Ooh. Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Fancy one.
So, same thing, go in order. How did you start beatboxing?
I just woke up one day, rolled out of bed, and went, and it all kicked off. No, I grew up around both my parents were musicians, so I had music growing up through my life, and then at school I started playing drums. And a friend of mine, his brother was into hip hop. He had a hip hop mixtape, and it featured a beatboxer, a legendary beatboxer called Razel. And I was like, oh, kind of do some of that stuff. Picked it up. There was a forum, internet forum at the time. Kids, back in our day, we didn't have social media. We had forums called humanbeatbox.com, where I discovered other beatboxers and realized that there was more around the world that made silly noises like me. And then the habit became a job, and now I'm here. So yeah, that's it in a nutshell.
Same sort of thing. I mean, I used to make lots of silly sounds and do impressions of teachers. But the first beatboxing I ever did was the Thunderbirds theme tune. But I didn't even know it was beatboxing then.
Thunderbirds is a kids' TV show.
What does it sound like, Roo?
Well, this back in the day, all I used to do was go... and it was just a humminess of lips of bass and stuff like that. And from there, I just always met one other person in school who did sound effects or impressions, and that would be your person to spar with. And then through development of meeting beatboxers, as Hobbit said, through humanbeatbox.com and all these beatbox jams and the UK Beatbox Championships, we all met. And again, your vocabulary just increases as every beatboxer you meet.
Yeah, well, those two pretty much hit the nail on the head there. It's very similar for me. I was beatboxing for a couple of years until I actually knew of the term beatbox, though. So I started when I was about 14, just before 14, and I was just doing simple beats like super simple. And then after a couple of years of doing stuff like that, getting a bit more complicated, like, but still not really going in because I didn't know it was a thing. And then I heard a guy called Quintela, who's like a legendary UK beatboxer, and he was doing back then, which just blew my mind.
Before Razel?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, yeah. And then from there I was just hooked, and then I found out there was the UK champs, world champs, blah blah blah, and then now I'm here.
Yeah, mine's a mix of all of their ones. My dad was a musician. I used to play the drums, so I used to kind of make beatboxing noise, not knowing it was beatboxing. And then when I was around 14, my cousin showed me a Razel CD and a tape, and that was what blew me away, of hearing that beatboxing was taken as more as a serious art form rather than just a side gimmick. People were actually saying, oh wow, this can be turned into something really magical. And meeting these guys on the forums, and then yeah, that's how I was discovering, and we all kind of met each other physically when the battle scene was started in the UK, and that was the UK Beatbox Championships. And that was when we realised there was more weird people in the country, not just one in each town and each city. So yeah, that's how we all started.
So you guys met on forums in preparation for like a battle, right?
Yeah.
So
just by chance on Tinder, it just came together.
Nice. Yeah, looking for a 6.
Even when you said, we're meeting at battles or meeting through forums, it wasn't just through the internet. Again, we used to meet through musical events and these jams that we used to kick off and stuff, which we used to have one called King of the Jam.
Legendary.
Which was essentially, we all met up in a park. The rules were no electricity, no evil. Okay, and people came down with doo-harps, ocarinas, didgeridoos, panpipes, all sorts.
Harmonicas.
And their face, yeah. And again, people had some breakdancers would come down. They'd put some lino down in the middle of a park. People would come with their best sandwiches of the day, Beatbox was salivating around the whole all the b-boys and everything, and then everyone gets up, does a little solo performance, and the best beatboxer gets a pot of jam. Hence King of the Jam.
Wow.
Did anyone win one?
No.
I got a pot of jam.
That's Kish Jam.
Oh,
Really?
You got a pot of jam?
I won the Leeds King of the Jam when I was 16.
Congrats.
That's how my name Ball-Zee got coined, because I didn't have a name, and we did like a little solo category, and then the guy came up to me, he was like, "You've won the solo thing. What's your name?" I was like, "Patrick." And he was like, "You can't be a beatboxer called Patrick." So it was like Team Huddle, and then it was originally like Ball-Zero, and it got shortened to Ball. But yeah, I had a jar of Victoria Plum Jam.
Ooh.
Lasted
Oh,
about
nice.
3 days. I was going to keep it as a trophy, but then
Yeah.
too tasty.
I was really surprised that you guys said that you like started beatboxing before you understood what beatboxing was. Like, you guys just started making sounds and then realized that there was something to it. Because I feel like I see a lot of people who like see it and then try and replicate it and like learn it. But I guess like with the internet not being as accessible, or like YouTube tutorials not being as accessible, you guys just kind of like learned how to do it like naturally.
Yeah, it was a different process, I think. I think back then, kind of Zane touched on it, but it was known more as like a party trick. Like someone would do it. It's like, "Oh yeah, my friend's brother can beatbox. Come and do it." You do it at a party or something like that. And yeah, when we discovered it, like when I first tried to learn new sounds, you know, like you say, there's tons of YouTube tutorials. You can go on anything now and find them. But back then, it was just written text of how to make sounds. So you'd read how to do it, and I didn't know if it sounded right. And that's you know, you come up with original sounds. That's why, you know, you can. There's a lot of beatboxers now, but they're learning differently to how you would have back then. And yeah, the inspiration is a bit. Yeah, it's just everywhere basically. It's different.
Yeah, and I think because of what you touched on, the accessibility, I think there was a lot more unique styles that were coming into the mainstream as mainstream beatboxers, because they weren't having the access to access everyone's sound. So we had to have there was very limited video clips. It was just audio clips, and so you'd hear a sound, be like, "How's he making that sound?" or "How's she making that sound?" And we'd have to work it out, spend ages trying to just listen to it, trying to replicate it. Well, what position of your mouth do you do? Is it an inward technique? Is it outward technique? Asking on the forums, waiting for the replies. The time difference is coming, sharing up on a really rubbish modem that would take. On ShareMation, remember that? Crazy, but yeah, it's evolved so much, and you know, having sound effect masters like Michael Winsley, the guy from Police Academy, who's a big inspiration for a lot of us, and not knowing it was beatboxing, but still using the mouth as sound effects, and you could actually see his mouth, so that was like a bonus to be able to see someone making those sounds. Yeah.
I like also the fact that when you say we used to read beatboxing and it was like BT, KKK, TTT, you know, so you follow that. But nowadays, all we want to do is be able to look for one of our tunes. We've got a tune called, but you can't type that in on the internet. But we're hoping that AI is going to be able to pick up, you know, the sound bites and go, that's track 5. Of course it is. And yeah.
So I wanted to ask what it's like to like beatbox in a group, because you know, like I think people understand music, they understand live performance through like a band format of like maybe two guitars, a drum, singer, that kind of setup. Do you guys have division of like sound within a group?
Yeah, I guess I have the similar question. So like I know there's like usually people that do like more of a bass sound or like more like sound effects, and then there's people who like do other stuff. So do you perfect or like have an interest towards one sort of sound and then like find a group depending on that, or do you usually have to like mold yourself around other people?
It's a good question. It's kind of yes to both. Like we're all solo beatboxers as well, so we do solo shows, so we have a plethora of sounds that we can go and do a solo set individually, but then when we're together it is about fitting and knowing what sounds work with each thing. So you know, we'll sit down, and if we're creating an original song or if we're doing like a mix of covers, we'll be like, Bass 6, his bass will sound perfect here, so he'll do that, and then Zani's beats will sound great here, and maybe Ball-Zee, his hyping will sound great, and then I'll just be in the back just going but that can add so much, and that's how we kind of structure different songs and stuff. But in terms of us on stage, we're definitely nothing like a band in that respect, and we've had it when we've been on stages where sound engineers maybe never worked with us before, and they're like, okay, who does the bass, who does the drums? It's like, we all do. So each track is a little bit different of working on our strengths and knowing what fits, and especially as a lot of our like original stuff that we started with when we first started as a group was kind of freestyled. So we didn't know what was coming next, but I'd always know that if Zani raises his right eyebrow, that means he's going to take the bass on this one and I'll take the drums. Or you find a way to bring it in and knowing. So it's about adapting and connecting and knowing what fits and whose vocals will work here and whatnot. And, you know, we have certain routines. We have a hip-hop medley that has about 20, 30 tracks in it, where we're changing it every few bars, and that switches every time. There's like one where Ball-Zee's doing this ridiculous sub bass and I'm doing a beat, and then straight after Basics is doing a big impression and I'm doing horns all of a sudden, and it all switches and changes. So, but yeah, we all work to each other's strengths and then also work to each other's weaknesses in that way to support that and knowing what fits. And I don't mean weaknesses in a negative way. I mean seeing how they can support the whole track in its entirety. Sorry. And it's about not being the main character when you're in a group, because if you become the main character, then you stand out, and it's not fun to perform with.
It's about getting the hand signals right as well in
Yeah.
the group.
Yeah, I've got some tremendous waving actions.
Yeah.
It's really good. But that's it. You own your part when you're whatever it is. And even as Hobbit said, there will be some bits where it's like, look, you've got the capability of doing 7.5 sounds at the same time, but if your role is just going, do it the best you can.
Yeah, less is more, and I think at starting as a group, there was a lot of us, and we're all excited beatboxers. We all want to show off our sounds. We all want to do a beat, so everyone would come within a bass line. It would just be this big wall of muddy mess. But over the years, we've become very disciplined as a group, and knowing how to fill those frequencies in have balanced sonics. So when you're hearing it, if you're walking past it, it sounds like a track's playing, and then that tune's wicked, and then you look, and then it's us on stage, and they're like, how are you doing that on stage? And that's because we've sound designed ourselves to make sure that we sound good. And obviously we have our extra hidden member Jimmy the South Sound Man, and he understands beatboxing, so he knows, okay, I know Ball-Zee's going to do a bass at this specific point, I'm going to turn him up, or I'm going to make sure his bass is down, or I'm going to do some vocals, turn me up, and then afterwards turn me back down. So it's sculpting the sound already, so we have the sound, and you can just sculpt it and polish it to make it sound nice.
So like talking about like sculpting sound, so when like a musician that has like a guitar or a piano is learning how to play an instrument, there's a lot of like theory applied to it and like just general music theory overall. And I guess I don't think most people really think about it in like beatboxing. Do you think that like music theory is something that's really important, especially if you're going to be like working together as a group, or is the theory a little bit different for you guys? Like, how do you guys tackle learning music as like a whole?
Yeah, I mean, none of us studied music really academically. Not like fully, like none of us went to like university for music or anything. We've all gone, we've all learned it from, doing it on stage and learning stuff like, I can't read music really. I think Zani's probably the only one in the group that can read music and get away with it.
Can read.
He can read. He's the only one in the group that can read.
We got one literate one between us.
But yeah,
numbers.
it's different with beatboxing, because like you said, there's no real fully academic way of learning it, right? And you couldn't if you were yet exactly. We hope there will be, and there has been introductions of it in some. I know Harvard did something, and they're trying to introduce it, but in terms of you couldn't go to university or college to learn beatboxing. You could learn music production, which can help, because then you can learn how to maybe mix your beatboxing when you're recording it and things like that. But yeah, for us, when we're, again, going back to touching on kind of the last question as well, but when we create songs and we create tracks, we're learning off kind of muscle memory and remembering and working that out, and rather than it being written down on a score sheet or musically in that way. But that's not to say what we're doing is not musically. We've just got such a different approach to it, and there's a lot of musicians that can do that as well. There's some incredibly talented guitarists who don't necessarily read music very well, but they can shred a guitar like no one else. So it's a different approach, right?
Yeah, it's a different approach, and that's why it's been very interesting for us, because we teach beatboxing as well now. So what's the best method of teaching? So we teach orally, using sounds, using phonetics, but then also writing it for kids. You can, like Rip was saying, BTK, you can put it phonetically, and you can speak the beatboxing before you actually learn how to learn the techniques. So it's like a combination of everything. But yeah, it's really fun and interesting.
And there's so many different levels of sounds in beatbox as well, which is different to other instruments, so to speak. So like Zani just said, you can learn BTK and you can put that into drums pretty quick. Within a couple of seconds, you'll go from BTK to going. Then you've got the sound of drums. Whereas if there's certain sounds like the fa snare or the sub bass, the first sound that you have to learn to get to that is so far away from it. So it takes weeks and weeks and weeks to even get to something like. Do you know what I mean? So the process is a lot different in terms of learning it. So beatboxers, that's why we stay in our bedroom and just practice the same sound over and over and over and over again, and then come out and we're like, hey, check this out.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
As you know from watching people in their bedroom. But also, that's exactly why we're out here at South by Southwest, and it's a huge honour to be recognised as not just a gimmicky beatbox act or anything like this, but we've been touring for, 12, 14 years, and, all around the world. But to be here at South by Southwest to actually perform and collaborate, we've got collaborations with real musicians, as well as showcasing our own style, and obviously tributing to us some with our medleys and as well. But that's one of the most amazing things about being here in Austin.
I wanted to talk a little bit more about like learning how to beatbox, because I think something within like learning an instrument or anything learning, I guess any skill, is there's going to be a period where you kind of plateau. And I was wondering what that kind of looks like for beatboxing, because there's so many like difficult sounds to recreate. Like, what are some challenges that you kind of hit whenever you start learning?
Everyone gets a writer's block at some time, but again, there's always someone with a new sound, and that's always going to inspire you. But also, there's new music and new technology, new synths, new sounds. So as long as you're still listening, then you've got something to aspire to, as well as you can make up your own sounds. But again, I think sort of your creativity is only going to come from what inspires you around you. And again, we learn a lot off every other beatboxer.
Yeah.
A beatboxer goes, "Oh, how'd you do that?" And they go, and everyone in the beatbox community is very sharing. No one goes, "Oh, I'm not going to show you how to do that."
Yeah.
It's like, cool, put a bit of sellotape here, hold yourself on one leg, and that's how you do the sound. But everyone's really good at sort of sharing it, and generally, once you've seen a sound, you know it's possible, and it gives you 2 weeks, and you'll get that sound, and then you build your muscle memory.
Yeah. I was going to say, once you learn a basic sound and you accomplish that and you find that achievement, you get that that reward of I've discovered a sound. Then you learn a more complex sound and you get that same reward. That's the feeling that you're like, oh, wow, you can progress. And once I can identify those progress routes, it's just down to you, because there's kind of like your instrument. So it's not like I have to get my instrument out. It's like it's there. So it's how determined you are, and how once you get the beatbox bug, it never leaves you. It's here for life. So it's down to a lot to the individual, and surrounding yourself with people that are gonna tell you, okay, that's amazing, keep on encouraging you. Like surround yourself with a good unit.
Yeah, and I think the beautiful thing about beatboxing is that it's, essentially what we're doing is imitating sounds in its like most basic description of it. So for us to be around kind of any sounds, Basics always says, when he's teaching workshops, like it's all about beatbox. You can do organic sounds, you can do electronic sounds, you can do kind of everything and anything. So especially being somewhere like here at South by Southwest, we're seeing loads of different bands and loads of different artists. That inspires us to make music. We're like, oh, we could create something like that, or we could do something like that. And then it's also being around kind of any music festival we're at, or like Basic said, if you're at especially at a beatbox event, even your most basic sound that you've been doing for years that you're used to doing, someone might come up to you and be like, how the hell do you do that? And it's just something like, do your sound. Like that sound.
I used to do that just to annoy my brother.
Yeah. And
But every beatbox go, whoa! Yeah. And I go, is that a good sound?
But it's the uniqueness and it's the impressiveness that something like that comes from. And because beatboxers are geeks, we're nerds, and we geek out about these sounds, people want to hear it, then they want to learn it. And it's the same with us. Like we do that through beatboxing, we do that through hearing music or whatever it is, and that helps to to kind of keep that hunger going. And obviously we've been beatboxing individually for 20 plus years, and then together as a group for 12 years. So there obviously has been those moments where you've had a few months off of being inspired or finding ways to think of new sounds, but then something will always draw you back in. And like Zani said, once you got the beatbox bug, you kind of, it's there for life.
And there is that rule book. I mean, again, we are some of the pioneers of doing this from, we've all been doing it for about 20 years or so. But actually, when you say about the plateau of sounds, yesterday or the day before we were on the stage, and MC Zani's his bass was the best I've ever heard it. So he's just getting strength and strength, you know, where again, you know, so with age or anything you would think that sort of like some voice will plateau, but everyone seems to get stronger with time and refining the sounds. But
Aging like fine wine.
yeah. I mean, again, but we do like to say every sound is a good sound, and you know there is no wrong, and so everything is encouraged. It's your voice and imagination, which is infinite. So you know it doesn't just have to limit to music. It can be. We do a whole range of shows which are sound effects, which are comedy, which are, you know, we do a lot of different work. And so we do voiceovers, we do sound effects and Foley, and you know, create soundscapes and all this sort of thing. So we're trying to sort of pave the way and show the dynamics of beatboxing, where it's not just let's make everyone have a great party for an hour. No, we can have a sit-down theatre and entertain people and get them to laugh, and also, you know, we can create the backing track for a computer game, or you know, all these things. So yeah, we're pushing the boundaries as much as we can.
Yeah, I was just about to ask you about that actually. So you were talking about doing like Foley and like other stuff like that. What like opportunities does beatboxing open up for you guys, like outside of just music and like coming together and making music? And also, like, are there any like skills that you think you pick up a little bit quicker than other people, or like any like superpowers that you think you guys have that like the average person just doesn't seem to be able to pick up?
I think, as Rupert was touching, opportunities. There's the adverts. We do like corporate gigs. There's also some clinical work that we do with. I work with kids with cancer and cystic fibrosis, so it's like beatboxing is healthy for you. It's been proven and studied and measured, and there's going to be papers that have been released on it. So that's another tick for everyone listening. Beatboxing is good for your health. And in terms of what was the other part of the question? Sorry.
Like superpowers,
Superpowers.
like annoying
Languages.
your mother.
It's good for learning languages because our job is to replicate sound. So every time I hear languages, I always try to replicate the language in its accent rather than saying it in an English accent. And that's a lot with most beatboxers are bilingual, or some of them can speak more than that. Especially in Europe, they can speak 3, 4, 5 languages, and that's kind of normal for most beatboxers. But yeah, we can all speak more than one, which is great. So it definitely helps with languages.
Yeah, I think it is, and it's. I mean, beatbox in its essence is a language in that way. Like the way that if you speak another language, you in your head, you say the word in your native tongue, and then it comes out in the other language. You don't sit there and be like, if you're fluid at it. And the same with beatboxing now. We can say, you know, I can say, Zani, do a snare now, go, and it just happens, you know, and there's no thought process. But to someone who doesn't beatbox, they're like, how do you just do that? And it's muscle memory, it's that, and I think that's probably our little superpower that we have, is that.
Another good superpower is the location pin that you can send out just with the sound. So if we're in a festival and we've lost each other, you just go and then all of a sudden everyone just finds each other. It's amazing.
It's always come from the toilet somewhere.
Yeah.
But that you know, Zani touched on it, musical therapy and recovery work. And again, it is speech, it's language, it's communication, it's breathing, it's exercising, it's trying something new, it's working with other people, it's all these positive health benefits which we try to put into schools. And education is one of our massive bits of work we do. We've now taught over 1 million school children how to beatbox. We do this incredible concert called Young Voices, where we teach 10,000 kids in one go how to beatbox. And then at night we go, and by the way, you're going to battle your parents. It goes off. But also the fact is, like, you know, we go and do these, whether one-on-ones in small groups, we do corporate team building. So I mean, again, name some of these huge sort of, you know, tech companies that we sort of work with, where we've been given some ridiculous briefs and we've pulled out the bag. I mean, there's been times where it's like, oh, can you just teach 100 of us how to beatbox? Yeah, no problem. Right, can you get 20 of them to do this bass line? Can you get 5 of them to do that? This person wants to do that, and this person just wants to do a dance for some reason. And and they go, can you get everyone to do that in 5 minutes? We nail it. And
while we serve desserts.
Yeah, while we serve. I mean, honestly, you know, the briefs are crazy and all sorts. But you know, the best thing is, you know, sort of uniting people through, you know, sort of through vibration and song and sound and communicating with each other and a performance and letting go and having a really good time together. I think, Zani, you've still got my favourite bit of feedback from any corporate event before. What was it?
Which, oh yeah, I did this team building event, and there was a woman that was there, and and she said, "Oh, I've been working at this company for like 3-4 years, and I don't get to speak anywhere in the office. Only unless I email them." So the person opposite, they never speak, but in the 1 hour session, they were nearly laughing together, giggling together, nearly crying together, just because of the session that you give. So it is a form of connection. Like beatboxing is the vehicle, it's the tool that you're using. So it's you're giving someone confidence, you're giving someone the permission. I don't like saying the word permission, but you're allowing them to express themselves and open up themselves. And it's the same with schools as well. There's the kids that are the ones that are naughty, but they're not naughty, they're just bored because they're mostly ahead or probably more clever than everyone. So we're engaging them. The teacher's saying, "Oh, we can never get them to engage," but in your 1 hour session, now they've turned their whole session around and they engage with everything because they just needed that spark, they needed that care and assistance, just to someone to actually take notice of them. And that's why I think beatboxing is such an amazing vehicle for that.
And it's definitely something, again, when you're saying where does it plateau, wherever, we are still writing the rule books and everything, but also trying to leave a legacy where we go, and not just teaching kids, but teaching teachers how to teach. I mean, we were just in Trossingen at the university teaching the staff there how to teach their a cappella and vocal students how to beatbox. And so again, it's wonderful that this is a template that more and more people are finding it accessible. It's so practical to do, and as you can tell, all you want to do is go on YouTube and watch people beatbox, whatever location.
Yeah, so that's wonderful, that's awesome, and that's something I personally didn't really know that Beatbox could offer. And I think another thing, which is Beatbox offers so much cooperation and opportunities to learn, but I think a big part of it is also that there's competition, there's battles, and you guys are champions, right? Congratulations. Yeah, you guys are.
Thank you. World champions.
World champions, yeah.
Individual champions. Everyone's got quite a few statuses here.
Mm-hmm.
So go from this side. Go from there.
Yeah, UK champion 2008.
3-time UK champion,
Undefeated.
Emperor of the Mic, Grand Beatbox Battle, World Champions.
The biggest titles in the business, which makes up for my... Moving on.
And you've got the world champion.
Yeah, I'm a
World
world champion, of
champion,
course.
yeah.
I'm a world champion for
Yeah.
life and stuff. Yeah, I'll take that one stuff, but the other
It's the
side
biggest
for
one.
that
It's
stuff.
the best one.
Yeah, of course. It's the ones our mums are most proud of.
Can't remember now. 3-time UK team champion, UK Loop Station champion, Freeze Showcase Battle champion.
And he's a nice guy.
I'm alright.
Sweetheart.
Among the
Horrible
rest.
on the stage.
Yeah.
I like his delivery though. How many battles have you won? Oh, I can't remember now.
Yeah. Well, I've got,
Oh,
There's the medal just fell out there. There's a trophy.
but I think I've got the most second places out of the UK champs ever, so I'll take that.
Hey, nice.
He beat me.
But and talking of that, when we're saying about leaving a legacy and being part of this scene from the beginning, from the beginning of the first Beatbox Championships, we now organise the UK Beatbox Championships, and we've just brought it back after 3 years post-pandemic. 4, it was counting 3 and 7 months. But again, this is the whole thing. We want to create an incredible platform for young beatboxers, aspiring beatboxers, as well as the best performances we can get, and essentially tell the public how incredible it is and what a wonderful scene it is. It's so involving. Even if you're not a beatboxer, if you're everyone's just sort of outside and in a smoking area or something like that, and everyone's jamming, and even if it takes there might be a parent of a beatbox there and stuff, and he goes, "Oh no, I don't beatbox." And you go, "No, you can." And they go, No. All they have to do is go, "Tsk." And I was like, "Oh my god, you're in!" And that's it, because it's just one little sound. But and we've had so much wonderful feedback for I mean, every age group, everyone who comes in and stuff. Whether it's a young people, old people, it blows everyone's minds. And this is part of what we do. Where we're educating young people, whether we're putting it onto the public, whether we're performing it ourselves, there's still boundaries to be broken.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to take a second?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just stop it.
Mid show poo.
No, that one's still rolling or something.
You go?
Yeah.
Could I know a little bit about because I've never seen a beatbox competition personally. I have never saw a YouTube video or anything like that. I've never been seeing it live. What's kind of the process of like how do you win one? It's
It's a good question. Yeah, I mean, it's the most easiest way to compare it is to like an 8 Mile style rap battle.
Yeah.
But instead of trading bars and dissing each other, you're doing it through sound and beats. But yeah, it's
A lot of your mum jokes in there.
it's an interesting thing because it's like you're essentially judging music, right? In a way. So there's certain criteria that you have as a judge. Like we all judge battles now as well, and don't necessarily battle as much. But you have things like you're looking for the person who's most original, so they sound like themselves. They don't sound like anyone else. You've never heard that style or that sound before.
Very important these days.
Yeah, it's very important these days. Exactly. Like technicalities. So how's their technique? How do they put their sounds together? When they're going like super technical and fast, is it clean? Is it nice? You look at things like how creative they are on stage. Like, say we're battling and he does a beat, and then I'm like, I can do that better, but with a lower bass line and more things. So things like that.
He does.
And then also like how you are on stage, your stage presence, how you conduct yourself on stage. Do you engage with the other person? Are you engaging with the audience? Are you comfortable on stage? You're not just standing there with your hat down, and you might sound amazing, but it's just you might as well be listening to a recording. So that's kind of the judging criteria. Then in terms of the format of the battles, there's different categories nowadays, but if we just go solo battles, so 1 versus 1, you'll do it in an AB format. So that's, for example, again, if we were battling,
There might be an elimination.
Oh yeah,
as well.
there are elimination rounds now as well, which is like your kind of X Factor, America's Got Talent style. You do
Pure
1 minute
audition.
30, you show off your stuff, and then the judges put through certain people to the battles.
Before that, there's hundreds of demos as well to filter
Yeah,
through.
there's
Yeah.
online entries, so there's a long process for. It depends on the battle. Some will be invitation, some will be you put in a video to enter. Then it's like AB format. I do a round, you do a round, I do a round, you do a round. Then after the battle, you have 3 or 5 judges who vote, and they point right for this guy, left for this person, and then the person with the most votes goes through. That goes all the way to the final, and then you have a winner. So it's really exciting, and the like level of beatbox battles nowadays is ridiculous. Like, it's unbelievable what some people do, and they'll have like little special sounds, special tricks, and ways. Like I said, you don't diss each other through words, but you're dissing each other by showing that I can do what you do way better, more technical, with different sounds that you're not able to do, and things like that. So it's really exciting, and it's kind of nowadays it's taken on a more musical route as well. So you have different ways of using beatboxing within a battle, and yeah, it's interesting. But like I say, it is still, you are essentially judging music in a way. So you, as a judge, you have to step away and make sure you're non-biased, and you're taking into account the skill on stage, and not just, I prefer hip hop to house music, so I'm going to put this person through, or whatever it is. So.
But the subjective thing of, like, again, someone could do the most incredible drum and bass routine, and then someone could do this wonderful soul R&B thing, and 2 different genres. And again, one could, whatever criteria they sort of like, well, technically, but again, it can be incredibly hard to tell some apart and stuff, because as I said, it's music, and music shouldn't be a competition, and there aren't many other a cappella competitions and stuff, but there's more beat making competitions and DMC and the break dancing and stuff. So I mean, this is where it's all sort of come through.
Stem from
stem through, and those are our sort of like sister parents of sort of companies in the sense of the DMCs and the B-Boy Championships.
Yeah, there's been quite a few cases. I think we can all say this, that some organisations, when you go and you're in the jury for the battle, they say no ties, so no draws, so you have to choose a winner no matter what. And sometimes it's just, you're like, I might as well flip a coin. They were both just equally as incredible as they were both engaging the audience, both unique, both loud, clear. You're like, I guess you have to come down to personal preference at some point, because it's the people getting so good, and they're so used to battling. Like, people now, that's their goal. Like us, we wanted to be on that stage battling. So now we're making routines and shows which might be an hour long, whereas some guys are just doing 90 seconds fire rounds, just purely made to just annihilate someone on stage. So yeah, it's hard to judge.
Interesting to say that, because he's saying that they're making the fire rounds, but as a person that's judged battles, and that's all of us, sometimes I'm necessarily not looking just for the most craziest thing. I want some structure. I want some, I want a story within your round. I don't want to just be bombarded with the most technical, most amazing sounds you've ever done for 130, because that sonically, it's just a mess. I want it to take its time. I want it to have a story and hit me in a way that I know, okay, you understand music. You're not just showing off completely on stage.
Do you need to? Okay. Could I put you guys on the spot?
Yeah, we put you on the spot.
Wait.
Yeah.
I wanna. So I think we're gonna start beatboxing now, right? Is
Yeah.
that what I'm hearing?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
Well,
chapter 1, teaching you how to beatbox today.
Well, I'd like to hear like your guys's, because I know that I'm sure each of you guys have a sound that nobody else can do in the group. So I'd like to hear that, hear what you're working on, and then maybe later we can try and throw some stuff at you, and also maybe you could teach us a little something.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Does that sound good? So can we go in a round and like let's hear what your most impressive sound is?
Start from Zani this time.
I like my. It's like a more.
Yeah.
It's like an Eastern side instrument.
I'd probably go for the.
That is the low end. Right, well, you've heard my silliest sound already. I've got a bass that's
I mean, it's got to be the.
made me jump there. Morning.
You're welcome.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Okay.
What's
we've
your
done
one?
that,
Hold on.
yeah.
So
What's your
so
sound?
we're going to ask you on the spot. What's the silliest sound that you do?
No, you.
Oh,
you said that you
well,
asked the question.
Chivalry's clearly hasn't died, has
No,
it?
no. She asked the question. Ladies first.
Yeah.
Amazing.
We'll take it.
55 points.
I feel like casually I just go like just like I do that all the time.
Actually, he does do that all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Wicked.
But
It's a
that's-
great-
yeah.
And again, each one of these sounds, like again, as we're saying, like when you start with a sound, you can keep developing and keep developing it. But that one, like you can have that as a metronome go. You can have as a clock go. All this. You can have like your feet are on the floor go. You can adapt and change the sound. It has more meanings than just one. Yeah, I mean, do that while she's walking around and stuff. Yeah. It's one better than going, which you shouldn't do when walking behind people. But
If I
yeah,
learned how
every
to do
sound
it, I
has
would.
different meanings. So yeah, depending how you apply it with physical theatre or motion and music, yeah, you can use that one sound for many things.
Yeah, well, you wanted to throw something at them, right?
Oh,
Yeah. Do you wanna learn how to beatbox?
Yeah.
Well, can I throw a couple challenges at you guys?
Sure.
I'd love to, maybe just like a quick 30-second, we can give you guys a couple different locations, and maybe you guys would see how those locations would sound.
Nice.
Sound okay? Do you have an
Yeah.
idea for one? I thought of one already.
Okay, a location.
Yeah.
You go first. I'll think
I'll
of
go
it.
for okay. I want to know what a car factory would sound like.
A Tesla.
I got one. All right. This one is, let's do a fast food kitchen during a rush.
okay. You got a fire? Hey, hi, can I take your next order, please?
Or can I get some chicken and waffles?
A small diet coke.
Darlene, pick up.
Coke zero, Coke zero. Oh. That was a good one. Great one.
Alright, I think
order wrong.
you guys know the Looney Tunes, right?
Yeah.
Let's do like a cartoon chase through the forest.
Oh.
got you.
Alright, one more.
Can I do one more? Okay. A grave robber in a haunted cemetery.
Alright, that was awesome.
That was really fun.
You guys are so creative, like on the spot.
No, these are great pictures. These are great. Honestly, great challenges.
Yeah.
Alright. Well, I think it's our turn.
I think it's
Darren.
your turn. I was going to say it's your turn.
So it is really simple. Again, you've got a mic.
No, no,
between-
no. We want to hear a construction site. Go.
Oh yeah.
I'm joking.
Hey.
Don't get up there.
Darren, no! Darren, no!
Oh,
Smashed it.
amazing.
Smashed it.
Oh. See, you've got the voice and the imagination and the confidence, and that's all it is. And stuff like there is no wrong, you know. It's
I
just
do
having fun.
improv, so I feel like there's a lot of
There's a lot of
similarities.
crossover, yeah.
Oh, brilliant. Okay, well, okay, we're going to put them on the spot. Should we start by sound by sound,
Yeah, yeah.
or just go straight into
Sounds
beats?
up, yeah.
Okay.
You mind if I borrow that mic?
Of course, go.
So, wonderful. The technique's there and stuff. So, the first rules of the microphone, obviously, when you're on the microphone, you can hold it all the way down here, but it's very ineffective. So, it's quite good to hold it close to your mouth. Okay. But then Zani's going to show you how to cup the microphone. There you go.
Yeah, when performing on stage, we usually do this and cut so none of the sound escapes.
Oh.
But in person interview, you don't need to do it because it's going to pick up the sound anyway, so it's all good.
I want to.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, that's cool. And just remember not to smell the microphones.
Oh.
It's a week long. Thank you, Shaw. And what we're going to do, we're going to teach you sound by sound. The first sound is the kick drum. Raise your fist in the air like this. Shing. And on the count of three, simply repeat. Ready? 1, 2, 3. And again, 1, 2, 3. Excellent. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to repeat the sound. Hold on. Let's go. I'm going to go it twice. Go. Now 4 times. And that is German techno.
Hey.
Second sound.
Alright, sound number 2 is called the hi-hat. For this, it's like the letter T. And repeat after me and go. Nice.
Awesome.
Sure, hi-hat.
Third sound of the beatboxing vocabulary is the snare. We're going to use more of a rim shot sound, so it's a kicking cuss sound. So repeat after me.
Nice.
Congratulations, Kevin. You've just reached level 1 of beatboxing.
We got level 1!
And now we're going to... they're already on level 33,
Oh, yeah.
53 recurring. So this is it. We're going to level it up. Okay, we'll say a phrase each, and then you repeat it back. Okay? Now what we'll do, okay, we'll do it one at a time. So we'll go for you first, and then second, okay? But listen to the beat, starting here. And here we go. Beautiful.
Well, we appreciate. I've learned so much today. I learned that I just made my health a little bit better. Which is awesome.
You're feeling better?
Good?
I feel so
awesome.
good.
Yeah, I feel awesome. So much. I haven't smiled all week like
No,
this.
listen, I've been giggling all session.
Thank you guys so much for coming in.
Yeah,
thank you
have
for
a
having
great
us, guys.
Sunday.
Yes.
Good.
Nice
Bye.
one.
Should we do a little drop? Should we do a little drop?
Yeah,
Oh,
we can do
please,
it.
yeah, please.
Yeah.
Do we,
Yes.
Play us out, guys. Play
Just
us
for you,
out.
Ru.
It's KV.
KVRX.
KVRX. Can you say KVRX 91.7?
91.7.
We'll do
Or
one.
if you guys want to do a little outro.
We'll do one each, and then and then you've got.
Let's go together.
Let's just do one. Yeah, let's do the. Yeah.
This is KVRX at 97.1 FM live reviewing the mix with the Beatbox Collective.
Oh yeah.
Wait, one more time?
91.7.
91.7.
Oh no, okay, no, yeah, that's what I mean. Stuff like
Should
edit.
we do a sweeper?
Yeah, we should do a sweeper as well.
Okay.
You're listening to KVRX Radio 91.7 FM in the mix with the Beatbox Collective.
Take this out by Southwest.